so Tally, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I know we always have a little bit of housekeeping in the intro before we jump into it, but these are brief webinars, so let's use our 30 minutes wisely. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fourth webinar in our Take Action series. We're going to be talking all about how to drive real results in your business using mobile apps, and we can see from the poll that Tally had launched, as she mentioned, many of you are already using our mobile apps. Some of you are using other mobile apps. That's great. And the majority of you are looking for some new and creative ways to get the most out of your current solutions. It looks like there's a few of you who also just want to talk about whether or not mobile apps are valuable. And so we have some information about that. My name is Kathleen Owen. Even though it says Tally Mack, let me change that. That happens. Sorry, Tally, I must be signed in under your name. There we go. And I'm the head of marketing here at Bravo. And it's my pleasure to kind of co-host with Tally here. And so we're just going to jump right in to the agenda today. We will cover very briefly, but why mobile is a gold mine. If you have more questions about kind of the stats that we're sharing today, we can certainly dive deeper into that. But this is something that, you know, Bravo has been talking about 5 years ago since we developed mobile apps, and something that we've talked quite a bit about in our webinars. So we're going to go quickly through that section. We want to spend the majority of the time on talking about actual programs and initiatives that you can launch to really drive more customer loyalty, leverage the asset you have at your fingertips, which are your customers, and then, of course, drive new customer acquisition. And lastly, we'll sprinkle in throughout our presentation today just some testimonials and customer success stories from our own Bravo customers and how they're seeing success with the mobile apps. As always, we will send you the recording. We love participation, and so we want to make sure you're getting the most out of today's presentation. So jump into the Q&A, ask us questions. We're happy to answer anything. We're not covering that. We want to make sure that we're getting that covered for you. And then we are here to help. So if at any point there's something that you want to take a deeper dive into, you know, just let us know in the chat, and we'll actually hook you up either with the correct account executive here at Bravo or a customer success manager who can answer some of those questions more specifically. Okay, so let's talk why mobile. Essentially, there is massive consumer demand right there. And every time there's large and high amounts of consumer demand for something, that creates a massive amount of opportunity for you, of course. And so, you know, as I mentioned, one of the things that we want to discuss is how do you actually take advantage of the opportunity that exists. We've spoken a lot about the fact that more and more customers or consumers have adopted mobile. They want to interact with you on mobile, but specifically when we're talking about mobile apps, if you take a look at the number on the screen there, 90% of the time that our consumers are spending on their phone is actually in an app. So it's a convenient way for them to interact with the brands that they want to be interacting with. And so having an app is actually something that's going to drive consumers to interact and engage with your business more. Something else that, you know, we've mentioned before, but I think it's worth highlighting here as well, because we'll be talking quite a bit about it, is that 3/4 of consumers actually prefer to receive their communications via text message. We've mentioned in the past as well that push notifications are on the rise, with nearly 70% of consumers preferring to get notifications and alerts via push notifications. So, so there's not really a question about whether or not your current customers or potential customers are willing to adopt this. It's just a matter of how do you use these things strategically so that it actually helps you acquire new customers and build loyalty. The other reason that adopting mobile apps and methods of communication with your customers and your prospects through mobile is that your competition is there and your competition is fierce. So there's a lot of people vying for the attention of your customers, and your customers, as we just mentioned, are willing to listen to your competitors. And so I'm going to turn it over to Tally to talk specifically about who you're competing against right now for kind of voice share in your consumer's mind.
Thanks, Kathleen. So I spent a lot of time really thinking about pawn shops and how to basically, develop and innovate products that help you compete with your competitors. And over the last, when we launched to about, I don't know, 4 years ago, it was big box retailers. It was Walmart. It was Target. It's moving, and it's always been, Easy and First Cash, and it was Cash America. And so those were primarily, when we launched, who we thought of pawnbrokers competition being. Competition has continued to expand into a lot of peer-to-peer mobile applications, and also just tech in general. Each type of competition you face has its own challenge that you have to figure out how to overcome, and that's something that we, as a technology provider, try to think through. How you diversify in combating these different competition avenues is really important. And so Kathleen and I and our team spends a lot of time at conferences and conventions and masterminds outside of the pawn space. And one of these sort of unique things that is sort of trendy now among tech companies is mind spend, time spent, and wallet spend. And typically, mind spend is where companies spend the least amount of time in developing ideas, and specifically, in this example, really spending the time thinking through who you're competing against and the different both strategy and tactics of how you're going to compete against each of these different people. And so you want to build out strategy and tactics for each of your competitors. The mind spend is the actual, time that you spend thinking, brainstorming, talking to your employees, getting inspiration, asking for feedback. That is before you do anything, before you start to allocate money, before you start to make decisions, before you start to weigh ROI. It is a pure way to think about something without letting the logistics get in the way. Time spent is where you actually start putting the time that you're going to spend implementing, designing, training, and how you're going to logistically roll something out. Wallet spend, of course, is usually the tool that you're going to use to execute. Part of wallet spend is also spending, the cost spend of training. Are you going to be lending more? Are you going to be using software to help you sell in more channels? Are you going to add mobile products that enable different types of features? So that's the wallet spend. As far as each competitor goes, and when I think about competitors right now of pawn shops, there's obviously First Cash and Easy, and what you're competing against when you're competing against them and your competitors, even if you're not in a market that has those two competitors, is money. So everybody's sitting on a lot of money. Redemptions and inventory just blew out of your store, and you're sitting on cash. One thing that's interesting to note is that First Cash has actually refinanced, and they're sitting on an additional $200 million of cash now than they were pre-COVID. And so these companies and your competitors are trying to figure out how to lend the most money responsibly and lend more than ever before. This is going to be a land grab of customers, because many customers just redeemed all of their loans from your stores, and now there's opportunity to grab more loan customers specifically. So when you're competing against those two, you need strategy, and you need to think through mobile strategy for competing on lending more money. How do you do that? Facebook and Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, these particular types of peer-to-peer channels, you are competing against liquidity on items of value. And what I mean by items of value is anything that's sitting in my house that I can sell quickly to a neighbor and get fast cash, opposed to coming in and getting a loan. And so when you're competing against these two, you're really competing on liquidity and how easy you can make it to get cash in the hands of consumers. You've got to make it faster and easier than it is for them to go on a mobile app like OfferUp or like Facebook Marketplace and just do it themselves. And then obviously with Amazon, you're always competing against convenience. How can you make it more convenient for your customers? And again, all three of these, you can have strategy and tactics through mobile apps and text messaging. So we'll talk about both of those in competing with each of these different channels.
Awesome, thanks. So first, kind of, if you can, just in the chat and the Q&A, I know we went through some of these things quickly, but have we established for you the value of having a mobile app and the fact that it's quite frankly, it's necessary at this point? If you can just put a Y or an N in the chat or the Q&A, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. I'm assuming Mark's speaking for everybody, so.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, so we know why we need to adopt mobile apps. We see that there's the demand there. We also know your competition is there. That should create some sense of urgency. So now let's talk about what we're doing with the mobile apps. The first way that you can leverage your mobile apps is by essentially creating a loyalty program among your current customers. This does not actually have to be like an official program, but you can make your customers feel like VIPs and incent them to adopt the use of the mobile app, so in our case, Mobile Pawn, by basically letting them know that, hey, if you're on Mobile Pawn, if this is something that you're adopting, we will send you offers that we're not gonna send to anybody else, right? It makes people feel like they're part of something exclusive, and in fact, they are part of something exclusive, and they'll often be checking that app, right, or looking at push notifications, and they'll become accustomed to using that app as well for a variety of other use cases. So that can be something simple that you're doing when you're communicating with your customers, is incent them to use that mobile app. And then, of course, in Bravo, we know who is using, or you would know who's using that app, and you can push out exclusive offers just to those folks. And that does ensure consistent traffic coming back into your stores. And it gets people waiting and hoping for you to communicate with them and promote special offers through the app. So that's one way that you can leverage the mobile app to create this VIP segment of customers and ultimately create a lot more loyalty that you can leverage for other things, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Tally, anything else to add there?
Yeah, so again, loyalty is all about creating a feeling of exclusivity and to create repeat business and for your customers to bring in friends because they feel loyal to your brand. Millennials, Gen Z, we want to feel loyal to a brand and not a big corporation. I think pawn shops have a really great leg up in this way if they can utilize the tools that you have available to you. We think about loyalty programs and VIP for sales. I like to think, especially right now, of loyalty and VIP for loan customers. One of the things that I always see, over the past 6 months is creating, free interest on your first loan if you're a brand new customer. And I know there's a lot of emphasis on trying to attract new customers into your store. But I think that there's a need, especially in the coming 6 months, to reward your customers who were great loan customers. So how can you reward them? Maybe you give them a negotiated interest rate if they bring in a bigger loan than they ever have before. Maybe you give them free interest on a loan if they bring in a friend who gets another loan. I think you can really start to get creative and reward your really good loan customers instead of just thinking about using loan promotions for brand new customers and using loyalty for retail existing customers. There's this gap here that I think that happens with rewarding your really good loan customers. Obviously, rewarding all types of your customers is going to drive your customer satisfaction. They're going to feel like they're getting a special deal, whether it's on a loan or whether it's on a buy that's not offered to the general public. And again, you can message this through push notifications really simply. To create that exclusive feeling, if you're a Bravo customer specifically and you have the ad hoc reporting ability to really segment your customers, then you're gonna wanna do that. And you wanna, let's say for example, you wanna send a message to everybody who bought something in the last week. You want to acknowledge to that customer that thanks for coming in last week and buying something. We're appreciative of your purchase. We love when you come and visit us. You want to send a targeted message that makes it seem like you're sending a one-to-one communication, even though that's going out to a bigger segment of customers. And when I say bigger segment of customers, I'm talking like 50 customers, 100 customers, maybe 200. I'm not talking about all 20,000 customers that you saw this year. I'm talking about small segments where your existing infrastructure can handle the influx of people that are coming into your store. One of the things that I see that's starting to happen with pawnbrokers as well is I want to caution against using a one-to-one communication as the rule and bigger messages as the exception. You're going to run out of time when you start to do that. You want to use push notifications and text messaging automation as the rule. You want to segment bigger, 50, 100, 200 segments of customers as the rule, and use the one-to-one messaging back and forth as the exception. Again, that's really going to save you a lot of time. And as your store starts to pick back up and you start to see your loan balance start to increase, that one-to-one relationship that you're having with customers, you're not going to have as much time for it as you have over the last 6 months. So just remember, you want to think of the one-to-one as your exception, and you want to think of the automating of these like loyal customers and these segments of customers as the rule. Does that make sense? That exception and the rule? Because time is of the essence and your time is really valuable in the store. So yes. Okay. So I just want to share, if you're not there's a lot of reasons to love specifically our mobile app or any mobile app that allows customers to be able to serve themselves. Specifically, you know, Mobile Pawn helps cut down on the amount of calls that you get in your store of people asking how much is due on a loan. You really give your customers a platform that traditional consumers have accessibility to. I don't know how many of you use mobile banking, but everybody that I know does. And you're really giving your customers the ability to manage their finances through a really nice mobile application. Obviously, in addition to that, when you're competing against Amazon and perhaps Easy Pawn, they have a new app. I don't know what regions that's active in, but it's convenience. Can they make their payments at home? For people that might not be working right now or might not be commuting into an office anymore and working from home, perhaps, are they still driving by your store on the way to work every day? Because that's where the convenience was happening for them. And if you take that away from them, are they able to come down to your store in a way that's convenient? I imagine that many customers are at home doing distance learning in certain regions with their kids. Do they have time to come to your store, or is it easier to help them make a payment on a mobile app? There are plenty of ways and reasons that you can bring customers into your store besides making them come make a $5 or $10 payment. So I'm going to repeat that. There are plenty of ways that you can creatively and in a really fun way get customers to come into your store besides having them come make a loan or a layaway payment. That is a high friction transaction when you can create urgency in a different way to get customers to come back into your store.
Awesome, thank you. All right, the second way to leverage mobile apps is to think through if you have slow days, days that typically you're not seeing as many people come through your store, or perhaps even like just seasonality, right? If there's slower times, and leverage your mobile apps to drive in-store traffic during those times. And some great ways to do that is by sending text messages, or even through push notifications, and alert people about kind of short notice flash sales, right, that are for that day or 2 days only, or also you know, providing some sort of discount or some sort of promo through the mobile app. And we do see that actually when you're sending discounts or flash sales through mobile, that there's a higher redemption rate for people to come in and actually redeem those than through, you know, other means like email or like direct mail, right? Because they have the convenience of the coupon or the discount or the offer right there on their hand wherever they're at. So that is another way that you can drive in-store traffic, but particularly for those times that you may not be seeing, you know, as much business come through your doors and those door swings are down. Look at those times and say, these are the times that we're going to start doing flash sales and push out promotions and coupons to make those higher sales days or higher sales seasons.
Yeah, so I really want to just make sure that, the idea of segmenting your lists and targeting your messaging is really important here. Um, and you want to use purchase history, gender, and you can save those segmented lists so you can reuse them over and over and basically track the effectiveness of your different campaigns. Segmenting it's a dream for small businesses, because if you sent a message to all of your customers and your campaign really worked and drove the in-store traffic, you would probably experience some operational issues, maybe some customer service issues on a day when you were having everybody come in to do a particular something. Maybe there's long lines in your store or something like that. On the text messaging front, if you're not a Bravo customer, and I know we have a lot of people on this webinar that aren't Bravo customers, I think all of our competition charges 7 cents per text message. We do as well. If you spent $3.50 per day, you could send 50 segmented, targeted text messages, make your customers feel really good about coming into your store, and remind them and try to create an event to get them back into your store. The ROI on $3.50 a day happens with one customer coming in and redeeming whatever sort of promotion you're trying to offer. Another thing, in addition to just sending, mobile coupons, is segmenting your customers and giving them free gift cards. Like, just give them money. Come in and redeem $25 gift card at our store. The thing about gift cards is that people always spend more than the gift card that you give them. They never spend less. And you can do it for all types of different holidays. Right now, you could do a back to school. You could send it to all women between a certain age and tell them, hey, if you've got kids and they're going back to school, come in, we'll give you $25 free to buy whatever you want. So you can use mobile coupons, but also you can give gift cards. Holidays are right around the corner, so it's not too early to start thinking about different holiday promotions that you can start running. Black Friday is in, around 2 months. So this is going to come up quickly. One of my favorite promotions during the holidays is to segment your customers by maybe the dollars they spent in the last year and give them gift cards to come in and shop and do all of their holiday shopping in your store. So start thinking about how you're going to capture using Mobilee from your different competition and the different things that your different competitors that I talked about before. So you want to steal business from your pawn shop competitors, you want to steal it from the mobile applications that are peer-to-peer, and you want to steal it obviously from Amazon and Walmart and Target and the brick and mortars. I do just want to mention that, the ideas, if you feel stuck with creating the ideas, download the apps of your competitors and see how they do it. Walmart, Target, Amazon, they have a lot of resources that pawn shops don't have. They do a lot of A/B testing. Their customer lists are way bigger than any of ours are. And they are masters at the messaging. And so use them as inspiration. Go on their e-commerce websites, download their apps, subscribe to their text messages, and get inspired that way. You don't have to be the head of marketing somewhere to be able to think of really creative ways to implement these types of campaigns.
Yeah, the other thing I'll add, just a piece of advice, as somebody who has, had to deal with segmentation, right, as a marketer, it can be overwhelming because, of course, you can slice and dice your database so many different ways. And so, my recommendation is just start with 2 or 3 segments. That's it, right? And whether that's, these are people that are super high value, and so they're going to spend a lot more. That could be one way of doing it, like Tally said, or it could be because of the seasonality, right? So holiday shoppers, and maybe there's a particular kind of segment in that audience, but you don't have to segment your entire database, 50 different ways. Just start with 2 or 3 different audiences and start that way and see what success you have, and either continue to refine on that, or, then you can start to expand. But kind of starting more narrow and small is just as effective when you're getting started and it's not overwhelming then. And, from a cost perspective, it's really feasible then. You don't have to be concerned about the costs either. The third way that you can leverage your mobile apps, and we talked a little bit about this, but is through referrals. So Your customers are your best assets. We know this. That's why we're doing these Take Action webinars with our customers. We're really geared towards our customers. I know there are people who are not our customers. It's why even at Bravo, we launched customer newsletters. It's why we invest a lot of money in continuing to develop our product, because we understand that you, our customers, are like the most valuable thing that we have. And so that's something you want to always be adding value to those customers, and to leverage the really great relationships that you've spent years and a lot of money building. A loyal customer base, right, boils down to word of mouth. Happy customers are happy to refer you to people. Many of you refer us to people, and so we know that. And so an easy way of doing that is just by offering referral coupons. And there's a number of ways to do that, right? It's like they could get money off some sort of a purchase. They could get money, their friend could get money. It could be a type of a discount that you offer. But these are simple things that you can text out and basically just say, hey, if you bring somebody new in and there's some purchase made, right, here's some sort of incentive and reward for you to do that. And you don't have to have any sort of real official, referral program in order to roll something like this out via text.
Another thing as far as attracting new customers go is, using a reputation management platform. And what I mean by that is some software tool or Bravo to help you get more reviews. That is, I think, over the last probably 18 months has become one of the top priorities for pawn shops. If you haven't jumped on that train, jump on it now. It's really important. It sets you apart from your competition. People that are focused on it have incredible results as far as new customers visiting their store. It really drives new in-store traffic. Again, reward your customers for giving you reviews. At least at a minimum, let them know that you're thankful for that review. In addition, I just want to piggyback before Kathleen was talking about, continuing to make Bravo better for our customers, because, you are, if you're on this call, the most important thing to us. One thing is, as you're segmenting customers, if you can't find a segment that you're looking for, you can always reach out to us. I know Billy's on this webinar right now looking for new ideas, because he always is. He is the master at creating segments. If you're in the Bravo Chat Facebook group, definitely post in there what you're looking for. He spends a lot of time, and I don't even know how much time. I just know from him asking questions that he's doing the mind spend here of thinking about how to get messaging and targeted messaging out to customers. If you can't find a segment and we don't have the segment for you, we will build it into the platform. That is how important this is. You have to be able to reach the customers that you're looking for, to be able to bring them in for a specific event. Again, this part of being a pawnbroker should be and could be really, really fun. And so let it be fun and get creative here. And again, if you don't have the segment that you're looking for, we can create it for you. But if you're not in our Facebook channel for Bravo customers only, and you're a Bravo customer, ask to be in that, because you'll get lots of new ideas if you're looking for inspiration.
Okay, so the webinar title is all about driving bottom line results, right? So we also, in addition to kind of bringing in new customers, to having people spend more, we also want to be making sure that we're getting payments in. So as Tally mentioned, use automation. That is your best friend for things that are considered more administrative tasks, right? Use recurring reminders through the mobile apps to remind people when their payments are due, or perhaps when they're past due. I know on the next slide here, I don't know, we talk about some customer success stories about how successful this has been. Tally, I know you wanted to add a few things to the slide, but I think we can do it here. But that not only do the mobile apps, it's awesome for communication with your customers, but that we also see that our customers are saying, because we have these reminders going out and we have the convenience that customers, that whenever they want and wherever they want, can make their payments. We have pawnbrokers who are just walking into their store in the morning with receipts, right, from payments that have come in overnight. That's what the automation can do for you. That's what things like the mobile app can do for you, by allowing customers just to self-serve. And it's kind of like a set it and forget it sort of solution.
if you're a customer, if you're a pawnbroker that's not using notifications for loans and layaways, no matter what platform you're using, I highly, it's the one thing that I recommend almost more than the platform itself. People don't make payments because they forget to make the payment and they forget that they have it coming due. If you remind them and you prompt them and you continually nudge them in the direction to make a payment because they're forgetting, you build a relationship with a lifelong customer. Another thing that I've seen happen over the last 6 months is a lot of pawn shops have started to push payment options. So you send a link, a single link to a customer with the ability for them to pay. That is a beautiful thing for convenience. That is a beautiful thing for customer experience and customer service. Again, that's a one-to-one transaction. So you actually have to go in, send the text with the link, expire the link, try to get that single payment, and then manually change that dollar amount of payment as your period changes and as the loan, flips months. Again, scale is key here. As your loan balance starts to pick back up, you want to find ways to help your customers make payments at scale and not in such a one-to-one scenario. So over the last 6 months, a lot of pawnbrokers have been able to implement new things that they've never been able to implement before. That is wonderful. If you've been able to adopt at least one thing over the last 6 months, I think that's an incredible start. As you start to move into the next 6 months, as things start to become busier, more hectic, and as your business starts to grow again, you want to shift away from one-to-one and more towards scaling that mobile cycle that you're doing, no matter what it is. Less one-to-one and more scalable messaging is going to be really important in the coming months.
All right, and the last thing that we want to touch on here is leveraging your mobile apps ultimately to make it just much easier for customers or potential customers to purchase from you, right? Let's reduce friction points, and then also to address concerns in real time. So for those of you who have Mobile Pawn and Shopkeeper, if you haven't heard, we released two-way chat between those apps, and so employees and customers can be communicating in real time. Not only does this allow customers to get questions answered in real time, which is a fantastic customer experience, right? If they're asking and they're trying to negotiate a price on something, right, they can get approvals instantly. So you're helping them just make decisions faster. And some other things with the mobile apps, right? You can take photos with the mobile apps. You can upload those instantly to a variety of channels. And so we have customers who talk about the fact that even just that capability with the mobile app is something that allows inventory to turn faster and allows their employees to constantly be in productivity mode.
So going back to that slide where you saw who you're competing against, and it depends on who you think you're competing against the most, but you're competing against convenience and customer service. Consumerism right now, it's all about instant gratification and instant attention. As a consumer, you want instant gratification, and if you have a question, you want it answered immediately. This is where you want to spend your one-to-one time. You want to spend it with the people who are engaged and ready to buy and showing you buying signals, whether that's they're literally going to buy something or whether they want to learn more about getting a loan. You want to spend your time, your one-to-one time, with nurturing these, what we call in marketing, bottom of the funnel sort of leads to get them into your store to finish the transaction. Let the top of middle of the funnel be your automated segments that you're sending. Chat, if you don't have a way to get to offer two-way chat right now, that is your chance to be competitive. Neither of the mobile apps offered by the First Cash or Easy, they don't have chat. Chat is a leg up, and you'll be able to win more because of the one-to-one service. And if you've got the time to give the one-to-one service, then you're going to make sure that those people that are engaged are coming into your store. Obviously, addressing questions as quickly as possible ensures that you don't lose your loyal customers. Again, this is a land grab for a bunch of pawn shops who just had all of their customers redeem items and are slowly starting to trickle back in. All the pawn shops are trying to figure out how to disrupt that loyal customer from going into the store they used to go into all the time to coming into theirs. all of these sorts of tools and things that you can give your customers in the name of convenience and customer service and customer experience will help you win more long-term customers. I know that we are 5 minutes over and we try to keep these super on time. I just wanted to make a few comments about some things that we've got going on. We just announced today a super exciting partnership with Bravo and Marquee. They have a new Marquee mentor program. If you didn't get the email or the sign up, I can post it in here. Basically what that does is it gives you an awesome resource to not only be able to authenticate, but also have a group of individuals who specialize in handbags and certain jewelry bands to help you determine whether to bring that in and what to sort of offer and what it retails for. So that's something that we're really excited about. We've been working on for a while. This is the last month of free E4473 beta. The 2020 version is going to be launched on the 30th of this month. That's our next release date. So if you're a customer, the 30th is our next release. We're really excited about that. We've been working on this since January, so we can't wait to get it out, get everybody using it. Right now, I think we have a 9.4 out of 10 as far as happy customers using E4473. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to e4473.com. That integration is complete and the 2020 version is coming out at the end of this month. Blue Dog is our payment processor. We've had a record number of stores come on to Blue Dog over the last 60 days. We've got all of the kinks worked out. I believe, Facebook's been quiet as far as what's been going on. I think we're in the clear. We've really made a lot of updates to making sure that that integration is seamless and not only saves you a ton of time in the platform, but also gives you an outlet to be able to collect payments and transact for firearms specifically. And then also we have a new source on hardware and supplies. If you want to get that at a discount, we've got a source for you for labels and receipt paper and stuff. That's a relationship that we developed over during the last 6 months that you can utilize and save some money. Before I let you all off, I would love to do a quick poll, find out if we're on the right track here, see if this is helpful. Again, we're really trying to modify these a little bit on the fly, depending on who's in them and whether you're a customer and what you're trying to get out of it. So if we were able to tailor this to you and make it helpful for you, let us know. We really want to. It's super helpful. I hope that you learned a lot. Otherwise, Kathleen and I will wrap it up here. You know where to find me. You've got my Facebook and our group and my email. And with that, thank you, Kathleen, for being like the most awesome co-host always. We're super excited to do
I love this. I love doing webinars. It's so fun to do it. I learn a lot. You know, I've mentioned before, I've been in the B2B space and the tech space a long time, but Pawn has been a new industry. So I learned a ton from you and from our customers. So this is one of my favorite parts of my job. Yeah, so thank you to everybody for joining us today. Tally, it looks like we did all right. We need to do a little better so we can get straight A's. That's how I was raised, straight A's. So we'll continue to work on the webinars and make sure that the content is always relevant and timely for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.